be spotlighting an issue that is very close to home for me. It's something that we hear a lot about is domestic violence. Later on in the show, we will be speaking to the lady who runs the domestic violence services here in Saratoga Springs. My daughter and I, about 4 years ago, had to go and stay at the domestic violence shelter. And I'm just going to share a little bit of my story with you and hope that it helps. So it was around the time that we got married that I noticed things really going wrong. My husband and I were from very different cultural backgrounds, and it led to a lot of tension between us. We had different ideas of what roles we were supposed to play in family life. Escalated to the point where it got physically violent. I had told him that I wanted to get a job, and he said I had to find daycare for my daughter. And before the car was fixed, I'm like, well, how am I supposed to go put in applications with Naomi? He told me that's not my problem. Single mothers do it all the time. And I was very hurt and offended by this because I wasn't a single mother at this point. But after my dad came out and fixed the car, I decided to take it upon myself that I was going to go put in applications and find daycare for my daughter. My husband told me that if I was going to do this, I had to pay for it myself. It had to come out of whatever money I made for her to be in daycare would come out of my paycheck. That, and then I'd have a little spending money left over. Well, when I was no longer running how I spent my money through my husband, I now had money for gas, and I could get myself wherever I wanted to go with the car being fixed, and it became real arguments between us. I no longer had to ask him if he would buy me a soda or if he would get me my cigarettes, because I do smoke, and I didn't have to ask him for any of this stuff anymore. He got more and more resentful of my friend. He was like, well, you spend all your time with Anne, and that was my friend's name. You spend all your time with Anne, and you guys do it. And I'm like, well, you're not home. You still are working 2 jobs. And he's like, well, I'm the one paying all the bills. I'm going to shut off the phone. We don't have the money for it. Which was where I had to draw the line. He was constantly putting me down. This is the argument that led to him spitting in my face. I never saw myself as a victim in this relationship. I've always been an independent, strong woman. And so I left and I stayed with my friend for a day or so, and then I came back. Things pretty much went back to the way they were. Things escalated and it got violent, and we ended up both with black eyes, and I lost my job. And finally, he hit me in the back of the head, and it was a biff upside the back of the head. We were arguing about me not cleaning the house properly, and he got mad. He's like, what are you, stupid? And smacked me upside the back of the head. And I snapped, and I called the police. My husband opened the door, and the first words out of my daughter's mouth, and she was 3 at the time, the first words out of her mouth was, Daddy hit Mommy. There were other times that were worse. The violence was much worse. I remember I had gone to visit my friend Anne. She came to pick me up. I spent the day. I didn't stay out or anything, but he got very, very upset, and I was holding my daughter, and he slapped me across the face while I was holding my daughter. So I called the domestic violence shelter to see what I could do, because I did have the police reports from Indiana, and they said, well, we have a place for you, and we'll take you right now. So I called my mother at work and said they were on their way to come get me, and I left and I went into the shelter, and it was one of the scariest things that I have ever done, but one of the best as well. They gave us a room. My daughter and I each had our own bed in a room, but they helped us very much. They gave us a class called Hope and Power, which shows women how to get financially secure, and there was some other classes. They had counseling provided for us. I had an advocate, a legal advocate, that came with me to family court to get legal custody of my daughter. They had so much support and help, and they were very kind, very loving people. I learned to become self-sufficient, and I have found my fiance, and we are together, building our family together now. He has a child as well. We're working to blend our families and get a house, and I would never have been able to do that without the help of the domestic violence shelter. Hello, and thank you, Maggie, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I have a couple questions for you. What is your job title here at Domestic Violence and Rape Crisis Services?
I'm the executive director.
Okay, and is there more to domestic violence than just physical abuse?
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you asked. So many times when we think about domestic violence, the image that comes to mind is a woman with a black eye. And domestic violence is about power and control. It's about more than just a black eye. Certainly physical abuse can be a part of it, but not necessarily. Other forms of control are emotional or psychological abuse, social isolation, financial control. And those are all parts of it. And sometimes there can even be all those other forms of abuse, sexual abuse, denying basic needs without there being physical abuse in the relationship. So it certainly can entail physical abuse, but sometimes there's other forms, and sometimes physical abuse can certainly be a part of domestic violence, but there are other forms too, and they can be just as devastating.
And what are some of the services provided here at the DVRC?
We have a full range of services to help victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. So we have a 24-hour hotline, emergency shelter, counseling, case management, housing to help people to get housing. We have legal advocates who will help people navigate the court system and attend court with them throughout the county. We also do an enormous amount of prevention education for young people.
And are these services also available for men? We know that men are victims as well, so do you provide these services for them as well?
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you brought that up. Domestic violence occurs in all forms of human relationships, and we offer services to help male victims who are either in a homosexual or a heterosexual relationship, and we understand how very difficult it can be for a male victim to come forward and say, I'm in this situation, because we have very often talked about this as a woman's issue. But counseling, case management, legal advocacy, all of those services are there to help male victims as well as female victims.
And what classes or groups are offered by the center?
Okay, we offer support groups for domestic violence victims, sexual assault victims. We do a financial literacy program, and then also we work a lot with I'm so glad that it was a wonderful experience for you. Hope and Power, we're now in our 7th year. It's a very innovative collaboration to deliver a financial literacy program to any woman who is limited in her choices due to financial dependence. We developed the program in combination with our collaborators, which is Optimist International of Saratoga County, and they co-facilitate classes. It's an 8-week program. They co-facilitate classes to help women to understand finances, to manage money better, to advance their careers, and to become as financially self-sufficient as they can. And our goal there is if people are financially self-sufficient, then they have more choices in their life and hopefully will be less apt to be victimized by abuse.
Okay, and do you have an 800 number for the National Domestic Violence Line?
Sure. The National Domestic Violence Hotline number is 1-800-621-4673.
And you have 2 local numbers as well?
In Saratoga County, DVRC runs our 24-hour hotline number, and that is area code 518-584-8188. And the hotline is not just for when you're in crisis. We have people call at 2 in the morning and say, I'm in a situation, I just need to talk to someone. Also, family members can call and say, I've got a son, a daughter, a friend I'm worried about. So we are there 24 hours a day to help people.
And we have seen that the Saratoga County DVRC is running a new program in order to help people talk about this with someone who they think may have a problem.
Yes, this is our Silence Hides Violence campaign. I know so often when we talk to people in the community, they say, I have a friend that I'm worried about, but I don't even know how to start the conversation, or it's very awkward, or I don't know if they told me they were in this situation, what I would do. And as I said, domestic abuse affects both men and women. So this is our campaign to help community members start that conversation with someone they love and know how they can be helpful.
And I know a lot of people have trouble asking for help for services because of confidentiality, privacy issues, and they're afraid of what the next step might be. Do you have any words for them?
Sure, absolutely. All of our services to start with are free and confidential. I think one of the fears that people have is if I go to a domestic violence agency, I'm going to be whisked away to an underground place. I'm going to have to go to the courts. I'm going to lose my power of making choices. That's not what happens. We work with people to identify how they can be more safe and what choices they want to make in life. We have a hotline, we have shelter. Some people immediately come in and say, I'm leaving the situation. Others say, I'm in this situation, I need to talk about it. I need to know how to be more safe. I need to know what my options are as far as utilizing the protections of the criminal justice system. So we work with people on finding out where they are in that decision-making process and then making choices to be more safe.
So it is all their choice. They get to choose step by step along how they want to proceed from here.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, Maggie, for coming in and speaking with us.
Well, thank you for helping to get the word out, because we want to work with the whole community so that we can end abuse.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, my name is Pastor Peter Berrios, and welcome to Stephanie Spotlight. Today's episode on Stephanie Spotlight was one that was very serious to a lot of us, in fact, all of us here. I want to talk right now to those of you who are abusing your loved ones, or don't even know that you're abusing your loved ones. Stop. Think. How can you hurt the person that you love or belittle them, cursing and yelling and screaming, or taking their possessions? You need to get control. If you feel yourself getting angry, go seek help. I challenge everyone, men and women alike, abusers and even non-abusers, those that are being the victims, seek help. There's help out there. If you get angry, call someone, talk to someone, and don't drink or do drugs. That'll just add fuel to the fire. Talk to somebody. Talk to your clergy. Talk to a counselor, a teacher. Talk to a police officer. Talk to your coworker. I guarantee you, by talking it out, you'd feel a whole lot better. I have a challenge for everyone out there, directed at the men, but it's for everyone. Find the love within yourselves. And after you find the love within yourselves, is it worth sharing? God gave us a great gift, a gift of love and a gift of forgiveness, which goes with that. We need to find the gift of love from within ourselves and to those that we claim that we truly love. My name is Pastor Peter Berrios, and I want to thank you for watching this episode of Stephanie Spotlight. More importantly, I want to thank you for accepting this challenge.